Sara Shivasadi. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we're going to continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 18, Text 5. Yesterday there was some discussion about the Shruti and the Smriti, where Mother Earth is saying that we should follow both. So we were trying to understand what is Shruti, what is Smriti. I looked it up. Shruti is whatever is spoken by the Lord himself. And Smriti is his remembrances, the ones that are spoken by his devotees. So Shruti is the Vedas, the original Vedas, which is spoken by the Lord himself. Mahabharata is one of the Smriti. So many people say that Bhagavad Gita is also Smriti because it's a part of Bhagavad Gita. But the devotees say that Bhagavad Gita is actually Shruti because it's spoken directly by the Lord, even though it's coming in the Mahabharata. So since we had some discussion about that yesterday, I thought I'll just bring it up. So
yeah, even I was feeling Bhagavad Gita actually should be a Shruti, na? Because spoken by the Lord. Yeah.
So many people, they don't accept it as a Shruti because it's coming in Mahabharata, but actually it should be accepted as Shruti. Yes. So then we continue reading. Tan anadritya yo avidvan.
Tan anaditya yo avidvan.
Avidvan.
Arthan arabhate swayam.
Arthan arabhate swayam.
Tasya vyabhicharanti artha.
Tasya vyabhicharanti artha.
Arabdascha punam punam.
Arabdasya punah punah.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. A foolish person who manufactures his own ways and means through mental speculation and does not recognize the authority of the sages who lay down impeachable directions is simply unsuccessful again and again in his attempts. At the present moment, it has become fashionable to disobey the unimpeachable directions given by the acharyas and liberated souls of the past. Presently, people are so fallen that they cannot distinguish between a liberated soul and a conditioned soul. Yesterday, we were hearing that Mother Earth was saying we should follow in the footsteps of the great Mahajans. Mahajano yena gata sapantha. Following in the footsteps of the Mahajans, following the instructions of the Mahajans. But now, we don't even know who's a Mahajan. Neither do we take the endeavor to find out who is a Mahajan. Whoever's speaking or whoever's voice is the loudest, we said, "Theek chalo, we are going to follow them." We are not able to understand who is a liberated person and who is not liberated. A conditioned soul is hampered by 4 defects. Does anyone remember what are the 4 defects of ours? We are all conditioned souls in this material world.
We do mistakes. We are in
Yes.
illusion.
Yes.
Cheating.
No.
Cheating is one of
Yes.
our propensities.
Yes.
And we are also, we want,
Yes.
like we more
Yeah,
aggressive. What is the exact word?
Our senses are imperfect.
And our senses are also incomplete. Apurna indriya.
Imperfect. So that's what. So we have these 4 defects. Yeah, that's okay. So we have these 4 defects, and with these 4 defects, how can we manufacture knowledge which is perfect? If we are going to use our imperfect mind, our imperfect senses to come to some conclusion, then that conclusion also will be defective. This Krishna consciousness movement directly receives instructions from the Supreme Personality of Godhead via persons who are strictly following his instructions. although a follower may not be a liberated person, if he follows the supreme liberated personality of Godhead, his actions are naturally liberated from the contamination of the material nature. So what Prabhupada is trying to explain is the Krishna consciousness movement is propagating the pure knowledge which Krishna spoke originally. So Krishna spoke to Brahmaji, Brahma spoke to Narad, Narad to Vyasadev, Vyasadev Madhvacharya, like that. It's been coming. It's there in the disciplic succession. And we simply have to repeat this instruction. We do not have to manufacture anything. We may think, oh, you mean it's just so easy? I just have to repeat what has been said by the authorities. Yes. We may think that, oh no, I need to discover something new. But no, there is nothing new to discover. Krishna says it himself. He says about himself. Who is he? What's his position? He speaks in Bhagavad Gita, Mata Paratarananya. That there's no truth superior to him. That everything is coming from him, the material world, the spiritual world. We simply have to hear it in the disciplic succession, and we just simply repeat it. So Prabhupada is pointing out, so a person, although he's not a liberated person, but because he's hearing the perfect knowledge, then his knowledge is perfect. Yeah, it's like Prabhupada would give the example that a small boy, he asks the father, what is this? Father says, this is microphone. So son says, yes, this is microphone. So son may not know how this microphone works, whatever, but he says, this is microphone. So his knowledge is perfect. Why? Because he heard from the authority. So that's what's being spoken here. Because we may think, oh, let me try to make up some knowledge. Let me try to use my mind to understand what the real knowledge is. But no, we simply hear from Krishna, from the authorities. Lord Chaitanya therefore says, by my order, you may become a spiritual master. This is Lord Chaitanya's instructions, that by my order, he's telling everyone to become a spiritual master. Means what? Tell everyone about Krishna. Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Koro Krishna, Shiksha. Say Krishna's name, worship Krishna, follow Krishna's instructions. Lord Chaitanya is telling each and every one of us. One can immediately become a spiritual master by having full faith in the transcendental words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and by following his instructions. So full faith in the transcendental words. Now we may speak so many words, this whole day we are talking. We're talking of some incident that happened, something, this one said this and this one did that and this one went here and this one went there. But Krishna's words are transcendental. They don't belong here to the material world. So simply if we hear with faith and follow Krishna's instructions, then our knowledge will become perfect and we will become perfect. Materialistic, we will become perfect, not that, the senses are going to become perfect, but our knowledge will be perfect. So we will be able to understand perfectly our position, understand the position of Krishna. Materialistic men are not interested in taking directions from a liberated person, but they're very much interested in their own concocted ideas, which make them repeatedly fail in their attempts. Because the entire world is now following the imperfect directions of conditioned souls, humanity is completely bewildered. So we should listen to the authorities, listen to the words of Krishna as he has spoken in Bhagavad Gita, hear about him from Srimad Bhagavatam. In the disciplic succession, there are many people who speak, but then have they heard from the proper authority? That's something we need to be careful too. Have they heard Because if they have not heard from the authority, then their knowledge would not be perfect. Pura shishta hi oshadhyo
Purashishta hi oshadayo
brahmanaya vishampate
brahmanaya vishampati
Abhishampate
bhujyamana maya drishta
puja mana maya drishta
asadbir adrita vrite.
asatpir adrita vrate.
My dear king, the seeds, roots, herbs, and grains which were created by Lord Brahma in the past are now being used by non-devotees who are devoid of all spiritual understanding. Lord Brahma created this material world for the use of the living entities, but it was created according to a plan that all living entities who might come into it to dominate it for sense gratification would be given directions by Lord Brahma in the Vedas in order that they might ultimately leave it and return home back to Godhead. So this is the great plan of the Lord. We say, Kyu Bhagwan Dunya Kyu Banai, right? There's a song. Why did you create this material world? Well, the plan is so that we can understand that we actually don't belong to this material world. We belong to the spiritual world. And that we can actually go to the spiritual world. Not only know about it, but actually go there, actually be able to transfer ourselves to the spiritual world. Return home back to Godhead. All necessities grown on earth, namely fruits, flowers, trees, grains, animals, and animal byproducts, were created for use and sacrifice for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu. However, the planet Earth, in the shape of a cow, herein submits that all these utilities are being used by non-devotees who have no plans for spiritual understanding. Although there are immense potencies within the earth for the production of grains, fruits, and flowers, this production is checked by the earth itself when it is misused by non-devotees who have no spiritual goals. So here Mother Earth is saying, see, I'm producing all these grains, but then they are not offering it to Lord Vishnu as a sacrifice. They're misusing it. So that's why I'm not producing. Everything belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and everything can be used for His satisfaction. What we do is we say, well, I found it here, so it's for me. It's for my enjoyment. That's how we see everything. Without asking actually, oh, but who actually created it? I didn't create it. I found it, yes. But who is the creator? And if we ask the question, then all the scriptures give the answer that the creator is the Supreme Lord. Everything belongs to Him. Krishna, He is the creator. And He's the one who's maintaining us. The Katha says, Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kama. Among all the eternals, there is one eternal who is maintaining all of us. And so that's the reason everything should be used for His satisfaction. But we mistake it and we think, no, everything is for my satisfaction. I should use it all for myself. So this is what Mother Earth is saying, that people are misusing it. We don't even know that, oh, it is sinful. We think, oh, well, I'm not committing any sin. What do you mean? I just found it and I used it. We don't even understand that it is sinful. Things should not be used for the sense gratification of the living entities. This is the whole plan of material nature, according to the directions of this material nature. So everything needs to be used in the service of the one who it actually belongs to. In this verse, the words asadbi and adrita vrite are important. The word asadbi refers to the non-devotees. The non-devotees have been described in Bhagavad Gita as Dushkritinaha, miscreants, Muda, asses or rascals, Naradama, lowest of mankind, and Maya Yaprahrata Jnana, those who have lost their knowledge to the power of the illusory energy. So Krishna in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he describes 4 kinds of pious people who come to him and 4 kinds of pious people who don't come to him. So here, 4 kinds of, not pious people who don't come to him, but just 4 kinds of people who don't come to him. And those are the ones who are being described here. All these persons are asat, non-devotees. Non-devotees are also called grahavrat, whereas the devotee is called dridvrat. The whole Vedic plan is that the misguided conditioned souls who have come to lord it over material nature should be trained to become dridvrata. This means that they should take a vow to satisfy their senses or enjoy material life only by satisfying the senses of the Supreme. So it's not that we don't satisfy our senses. We are in the body, we do need sense gratification. You know, that it's just a basic need of the body. So what the scriptures are trying to tell us, that we will be able to, in fact, perfectly satisfy our senses in connection to Krishna, in relation to Krishna. When we can engage these senses in the service of Krishna, then we are properly engaging the senses, we are enjoying also, and that is proper enjoyment. And then we gradually get purified by this process. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Rochate. And in this way we can engage in pure devotional service. Activities intended to satisfy the senses of the Supreme Lord Krishna are called Krishnarte Akhila Chestaha. This indicates that one can attempt all kinds of work, but one should do so to satisfy Krishna. This is described in Bhagavad Gita as Yagnarthat Karma. So Krishna is not telling us don't do your duty. Krishna is not saying don't use your senses, close your eyes, ears, nose, and don't do anything. It's not practical for us to do it. How long can we just sit down and close our mouth, eyes, nose, everything? Barely any time. What Krishna says, you do whatever you need to do it for my satisfaction. He says that in Bhagavad Gita. So the word yajna indicates Lord Vishnu. We should work only for his satisfaction. In modern times, Kali Yuga, however, people have forgotten Vishnu altogether and they conduct their activities for sense gratification. So then Krishna says this in Bhagavad Gita, that you do your duty for my satisfaction. Don't get attached to the results. But then how can we practically do it? You know, what's the practical way? Yes, Krishna is telling in theory what to do, but how to practically apply this? Then Krishna comes himself as Lord Chaitanya, because he scratches his head and says, yeah, I gave so much theory to everyone. I told them, surrender to me, do this, do that. But they don't know. They're not going to know how to do it. This is Kali Yuga people, which is true. We don't know how to do it. So Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya to give us the highest, Prema Pamarthaman. He came to give us Braj Prem. How? By chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So then when we chant, we will chant offenselessly. We will be able to develop love for Krishna. And then we will be able to surrender to Krishna. We will be able to do all kinds of work as an offering to Krishna. So that's why chanting the Hare Krishna mantra is so important. To actually put into practice what Krishna has given us in Bhagavad Gita. Such people will gradually become poverty-stricken, for they cannot use things which are to be enjoyed by the Supreme Lord for their own sense gratification. If they continue like this, there will ultimately be a state of poverty, and no grains, fruits, or flowers will be produced. Indeed, it is stated in the 12th canto of Bhagavatam that at the end of Kali Yuga, people will be so polluted that there will no longer be any grains, wheat, sugarcane, or milk. Because as this age goes on, Kali Yuga, the irreligiosity of the people is going to increase more and more. And this is one of the predictions of Bhagavatam in the 12th canto, that there's not going to be enough food. Because we are going to become so irreligious, like here now, Mother Earth. Also in the past, that's what she did. She said, oh, people are too irreligious. I'm not going to produce anything. That's what's going to happen. Also, towards the end of Kali Yuga. Are there any questions or comments?
So this is the reason why she was not, right, producing grains. That's what she's trying to tell. Okay.
Yes.
Mahārāja, but okay. Pṛthu. Okay.
And the beginning of the purport is so beautiful. Like how nicely they have explained that why we are here and what actually is our purpose on this earth, but how like people say ki ek hi zindagi hai, ji lo bhai, ji lo. So like this is a misconception that people have, and that's being fed in the head of people these days. Ke you just have one life, so live it completely, fully. And then we tend to commit more mistakes because we think that it's just one life. And we have got this life, like how beautifully Mother Earth said that we have got this life to go back to Godhead, to Golok Vrindavan. And everything that is available here on earth is to be offered to Lord Krishna. It belongs to him. So we should offer it to him. It's really very, very nice.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So that's something that we need to remember, because we also get carried away, right?
Yes.
Get carried, we forget. So it's something that we need to keep reminding ourselves. And then, well, how will we be able to remind ourselves? What's the way?
If we just keep on chanting and hearing,
That's right.
then
Yes,
Read the
that's right.
Shastra.
Yes, that's right. Because we have to understand this knowledge. You know, we are on our individual journey, and each of us has to be able to understand this knowledge. And then, as you rightly said, we continue hearing and chanting.
because I have felt the difference when we hear, like even some other lecture, or even in this morning when we read Bhagavatam and we hear, we get to know so many things, and it's like a polishing thing for us because we are not experts, and no matter how much we study, there is something that we don't know, no matter how much, no matter. So every moment, every purport of Srila Prabhupada is imparting so much knowledge. It's clearing, it's cleaning our heart, each word of it, because this all is so important that even the clothes we bring in, we can just offer it to Krishna. What will happen to it? It will just, give us more happiness wearing those clothes. Then anything we do, we can just remember Krishna. It's nothing like, as I remember you also saying once, that even if you drink water, we can just say Krishna. How happy he will feel, because that belongs to him, and we are just remembering him in that moment. Like how sometimes when we fall down, we say, oh mummy, we remember our mother. But if we try to remember Krishna, if we just try, I know it's very difficult because we have been programmed in that way. Our senses are being programmed in that way that we cannot remember. But just we try, we say mummy, and then we can say, oh, I have to say, oh Krishna. So, I know it is very difficult and I make mistakes. I'm telling about myself. I do, but yeah, we can all try. Maybe Krishna will look at us. Oh, this naughty Neha is remembering me this time. So maybe, I mean, it's up to him, but we can just try. But every single purport gives so much pleasure to us to our heart and satisfaction that, oh, my dear Krishna is so merciful. He's there for me.
Yes, nice. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. We'll stop here for today. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Jai.